one of our favorites, Touring Car Challenge. Good evening from the second year production studio. With me, Mike Side, the voice of West Farms Motorsport, Frankie Innes. Well, everyone up until now has been a biggie. No reason why Summit Point should not be the same.
Yes, good day everybody, and welcome to Summit Point Raceway for the final round of Season 1. This is round number 5 of the TCR Touring Car Challenge. And track temperature is going to be pretty high. It's 43 degrees Celsius. Outside temperature is 29 degrees, partly cloudy, 13 kilometer an hour wind. And they say a 48% chance of rain, although I doubt that very much. And we come to you from the USA, and Summit Point Raceway is the circuit, and it's just over 3.2 kilometers long.
Well, I think this one's going to be a pretty biggie. There's no doubt about it. Around about the 1 minute 16, 1 minute 17 is around about the times to be expected. But then again, Frankie, without giving anything away, what we were watching with the practice session was the top 10. No, the top 11 were all within 1 second of one another.
Yeah, top 11, or I could even have been the top 14. That's the bottom line. They were very, very quick, and they were all running 116 ones down to 117 one odd in the 20-minute practice session that they had early on. As we watch the cars go around, it's a combination of Hyundai and Audi cars that's been selected by the drivers this evening. The Honda's also an option, but there are no Honda cars out there, as we look at Jonty Weiss making his way around in the Mobile 1 Audi that is of Jonty Weiss. It's a lovely flowing track as Ati Nagel in the Shell car makes his way around the Summit Park Raceway. About more than half of the track is basically based on long straights, that long back straight that takes you into the final corner, and then the long main straight. It's only the top end of Summit Park Raceway that gets a little bit technical, as Sander Bakar is trying to find his way back onto the circuit once again.
Well, you seem to get the feeling that the big hitters haven't really put their fast laps in yet. The likes of Jared Paul out there in 6th position. Michael Steven, can't miss that one. Look at the colors that he is in. And here, as we said, all the big hitters come through. Bang, to the top goes Julian Familiaris. In there behind him is that man, Byron Mitchell. Then Willem Botha finds himself provisionally on the second row of the grid. The Iron Man, Jason Kutsia, just gets bumped off the second row of the grid by that man, Jonty Weiss. Pulls up into 4th position and bumps Jason down alongside that man, Nati and Samangi.
Yes, watch out there for the Durant Motorsport cars. They're going to be pretty quick out there. Byron Mitchell will be very fast out there. So will Jason Kutsia and Yuri Umpi Swart as well. So it's going to be a hell of a fight up there. Then you still add Julian Familiaris to that equation as well, and Willem Botha. I think we're going to be in for a heck of a dogfight. Oh, let's not forget about Clinton Beside, note neither, and for that matter Michael Steven at this point in time finding himself all the way down in 17th position provisionally. Is Michael with a 122.303, but I don't suspect he's going to stay down in that position too long. Neither is that man for Durant Motorsport. Umpi Swart has only done a 124.734. He will climb up that leaderboard, that's for sure, and qualify in the top group as Familiaris does a 115.991, and that is the quickest time we've seen out there. The guys were doing 116 ones in practice, and Julian has cracked that 116.1 mark by doing a 115.991.
Well, that is very, very quick. Now, I wonder if that is Umpi Swart or Swart Senior that is out there, because that's down in 18th position. Now, either he had an off track, because on screen it shows Yuri Swart. On my leaderboard, on my internal diagnostics here, shows Yuri Umpi Swart. So it could be either of the two. I think we'll find out pretty shortly. Carl McCarthy and Herman Lazarus have not come out on onto the circuit yet. I'm pretty sure that that is maybe Yuri Swart Sr. that's in there, or if it all of a sudden bumps up into the top 6, well, then you'll know very quickly. Byron Mitchell doesn't go any quicker on his last round. Nope, same for Julian Familiaris, same for Willem Botha. Personal best there by Nati and Samangi, moving himself up into that 9th position as they work their way through. So John Device has just gone back out on circuit again. So there is Yuri Swart, but I tend to think that that is Yuri Swart Sr. We'll just keep an eye on that one as he works his way through. A new name for me, Werner Swart, Z-W-A-R-T. Any knowledge of that one, Frankie?
Yeah, he took part in the last one when FC joined us, Werner Swart. So he has, I think he's bumped up from the B division. And that Yuri Swart that you spoke about, it must be Umpi, because the number on the side of that car was 39. And that is the number of Yuri Umpi Swart. So there you go, 039s. It's definitely, and it says Durant Motorsport on the side as well. So that is not Yuri Swart Sr., that is definitely Yuri Jr. But yeah, strange to find himself all the way down in 19th position so far, as another quickest lap by Familiaris, a 1:15.914.
I do believe that that could be Yuri Swart Sr. that's riding on, no, that is Umpi. Bang! 2nd position, straight to the top he goes alongside Julian Familiaris, and look at the difference in the time. 4/10. Julian once again has got this one going.
Yeah, Familiaris right up there with Swart, Mitchell, Dolacek, and Botha, and Besaidenote, and Michael Steven, and Jason Kutsia. That is your top 8, a 1:15.9 to a 1:16.885. That is your first 8 cars out there. If you have a look at Yuri, that's on a 1:16.1. There is round about 7/10 of a second between P2 and P8. And then you add Julian at the front end of it. It's going to be very, very tight. With 8 minutes done out of the 10-minute qualifying session, I think it's going to be absolutely awesome out there. Look at those first 8 names. It is exactly the 8 names that you would expect for the grand finale of the opening season of the Touring Car Challenge.
Well, there you can see the intervals between first and second, second and third, third and fourth, the individual gaps, and look at that, 0.0, 0.2, 0.007, 0.1, 0.1, 0.1, 0.03. It's crazy how close it is. But then again, Frankie, when we watched the first race that there was ever of this Touring Car Series, we identified it as this is going to be pretty good, and the season 1 has actually been cut short, that this is the last race for season 1. There is in fact a season 2 which is going to be starting, and that will be on the 6th of June, if I've got it correctly. Yes, I think it's the 6th of June, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rounds with a new big national sponsor on board for that one as well. Just half a minute to go. Oh, going a little bit off there is Sandra Bakari. Most of the guys have done their lap times already. Look who's jumped into the second row of the grid. Willem Botha.
Yeah, Willem Botha. He's leapfrogged Byron Mitchell, Troy Dolacek, and Michael Steven. But what a lineup. Those first 4 rows of the grid is going to be absolutely chaos and mayhem. I'll make it the first 5 because Ati Nagel is in P9 and Natin Samanga finds himself in P10. And then Jonty Weiss just outside of the top 10 in 11th position with a 1:17.061. 1:17.254 was his last lap. So I'll tell you this for nothing. All the way down to about Sandro Bakari, that first 12 cars, it's going to be absolutely chaos out there, that I can promise you.
Well, I just hope that they all get through the first couple of corners, although it's a long straight down to that right-hander. Then there's a fair size straight. Let's have a look at that track. In fact, let's just bring it up for you. There you go. So where you see that black line moving, that's the car that, where you see the red with the green around it, that is the one that we're watching. That in fact is a Willem Botha that's coming out into the front lane. There's the entrance to the pits is on the right hand side, and as he works his way up the front lane, that's the start finish line, and that's going down towards the Davidson's board car. I think that is Clinton Bezuidenhout that is standing there as he goes down in towards turn number 1. Let's keep an eye on Willem Botha as he works his way around. That's a long right-hander. Now, if everybody can get through there, that should be quite fine. The next corner you're going to go through, you've got to come through there very, very neatly. It's a bit of an offset. You need to go down through the gears, but you come over a little bit of a blind rise, and then very much on the limit through this corner. You've got to come through the corner and then stamp on the brakes very, very hard and go through a very tight left-hander. Hold it in that same gear all the way through that right-hander. Fairly okay through there, not too bad. Turns back on you slightly. Bit of a right-hander, but by there you flat-foot already. You just need to line it up very neatly and make sure that you can come through there, and then you start on the first of 2 pretty long straights. So that is qualifying that has now finished. And, well, let's see what does that grid look like.
I was going to just say, Gary, before we go through the grid, that this track is divided into 3 sectors. I picked that one up, but it's Familiaris and Swart on the front row of the grid, followed there by Willem Botha, Byron Mitchell, Troy Dolacek, Michael Stephen, Clinton Bezuidenhout, and Jason Coetzee. Those are the first 4 rows of the grid.
Well, in there behind Jason Coetzee is, as you said, Clinton Bezuidenhout and Jason Coetzee. Then it's Ati Nagel, Nathan Samangi, John Device, Sandra Bakari, Jared Paul, Werner Swart, Etienne Swart with a Z, Robbie Teens, long way down, Nokia, Janeman Prius, Densham, Hammond Lazarus a long way down as well, and then Carl McCarthy from the Sujin property side of the world coming off the tail end of the field.
Yeah, he's on the 11th row of the grid. 21 cars out there, all Hyundais and Audis. It's Germany versus South Korea out there. As we go to 4 lights, 5 lights, and off we go. This one's underway. 30 minutes of absolute chaos as it is for Familiaris. That's in the lead, running down that long main straight with Yuri Swart in second position, followed there by Byron Mitchell, Troy Dolacek, and Michael Stephen, Clinton Bezuidenhout. He's the next man coming through there as well. Willem Botha's lost a couple of positions. He's dropped all the way down to P10 as Willem Botha has a Dolacek in the best water technology car sitting in there just behind Byron Mitchell and ahead of Michael Stephen. There's chaos going into that left-hander as well. There's cars all over the place. The Shell car's gone off. That might be it's not Robbie Teens. Teens is in the Denso car, but it's a Shell car that's gone off there. But
I think it was Ati Nagel, in fact.
Well, it could possibly be. We'll have a look and see. But at this point in time, as they work their way back down from the top end of the circuit, it is Familiaris, from Swart, from Mitchell, Dolacek, Stephen, and Bezuidenhout. That is that top 6 at this point in time.
And the other one that's gone missing is John Device. That's gone into the pits. So probably Ati Nagel, John Device contact. But we'll pick that up as time goes by. Let's first stick with the action up front. To the Familiaris, that's stretching away from Umpi Swart. Byron Mitchell in that 3rd position. Troy Dolacek holding on to that. And then Michael Stevens in there as well.
Right, the intervals is going to be awesome the moment we see that. And look at Bezuidenhout diving up there on the inside of Stephen, and he might just lose a position there. Does Michael Stephen? He's been pushed and shoved around. It's Nathan Samanga and Jason Coetzee that's right in there with them. Behind them, it is Willem Botha and Sandro Bakari. Sandro gets a tail wagging. Bakari loses a circuit there and almost takes out one of the other drivers just in there behind him. So it's hot, it's rough, and it's tough out there as the bollards are flying all over the place. Yeah, that's a replay at Bakari.
I thought he got hit. That was Sandro Bakari that got whacked as he went back onto the circuit. There was no way around that one whatsoever. The car just drifted back onto the circuit. So let's go from the front end down. Julian Familiaris from the front end of the field. We've got Sandro Bakari and Jonty Weiss, in fact, in the pits at the moment now. There's your leader. In there behind him, yes, it is Umpi Swart. That is the man himself from Durant Motorsport. In there behind that, in the pink BWT car. Well, we see that with the Formula One circuit on a regular basis these days. That sign writing is but everywhere. But also coming into play is Byron Mitchell.
Mitchell sitting out there in that fourth position. He is 4/10 of a second behind Dolacek. He's right on the case there of Dolacek. Is Mitchell as they go into that left-hander. Dolacek, you see there, just ahead of Byron Mitchell. And then just ahead there of Dolacek is second place man, Umpi Swart. And there are 2/10 of a second between the two of them, and they're chasing down the race leader, Julian Familiaris. So it's Audi, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, and eighth at this point in time.
Well, there's a couple of Hyundais out there. Willem Borto being the leading one. But the man that's starting to get away once again, Julian Familiaris, just almost out of shot. In fact, he is out of shot on the blimp. Let's go to him. There's Julian Familiaris, that's up front. Then in there behind him, that's that three-way battle. That's Umpi Swart, that's Troy Dolenchik, that's Byron Mitchell. Now, how far back's Clinton Zaidnote? Not far back at all. How far back is Michael Steven? He's right there as well. Nati Nsamangi, our polo man, is with the game as well. Jason Kutsia has lost out somehow quite a bit, and he finds himself in 8th position.
Now then in 9th place is Willem Botha. He's 1.1 seconds behind Jason Kutsia, and he was down to 10th position at one point in time on the opening lap was Willem Botha. So he's clawing his way back. He's now in the top 10 as Jason Kutsia is going as quick as he can. We're riding aboard here with Jason Kutsia. Ahead of Jason Kutsia is Nathan Samanga. Ahead of Samanga is Michael Steven. Ahead of Michael Steven is a Clinton Besaidnote. There's nothing between them as Jason Kutsia jumps on the brakes to avoid ramming into the back end there of Samanga. There might have been a little bit of rubbing there on the back end of that Audi as Steven climbs over the curbstones. And Samanga is holding up at this point in time. Jason Kutsia is closing up onto the back of Jason Kutsia is Willem Botha.
Well, this one I think is going to carry on all race long. So let's have a look at some of the incidents that have happened so far to keep you up to date. There was that incident with Jonty Weiss, and that's what happened to Jonty Weiss and clipped the wall. And then Ati Nagel was the next person that went off the circuit. And those two, obviously, then that was a linked incident between them. They all came back on circuit. Then Jason Kutsia ran into a bit of a problem. That was Michael Steven on his inside line. Yep, we were actually watching that one, so we saw that one. Willem Botha had an off track as well. Just trying just a little bit too hard. And then that one that happened behind him, I'm sure that was when Sandro Bakari went off the circuit. Yep, that was Sandro Bakari, and then it just came back that little bit and bang, and that was where the problem started. And that was Werner Swart that I think was also maybe involved with that. Let's see. Yep, it was Werner Swart that was involved with that one, and that cost him pretty dearly. Then Etienne Swart also had a off track. Hope we're not missing out on. Well, that was just too late and hard on the brakes. And I think that's about as far as we can go. We have to go back to the front end of the field. It's Julian Familiaris that leads them out line astern.
Yeah, so Familiaris from Dolacek, from Swart, from Byron Mitchell. Then the next group of cars is led there by Clinton Besaidnote from Michael Steven, and Botha gets overtaken there by Jason Kutsia. Jason Kutsia moving up now to P7, Botha dropping down to P8. So the Durant Motorsport man sits there ahead of Willem Botha. The Botha, as a matter of fact, has gone down 5 positions. I did say halfway through the opening lap that Willem Botha had lost a lot of ground, and there you can see for yourself his last and best lap was a 1:16.454. and Botha has lost 5 positions, and we are currently on lap 6.
Yeah, I told you it was going to go very, very quickly. Already 7 minutes 20 into the only half an hour that there is nothing much between the two of them. Willem Botha on Jason Kutsia. It does the have a big drag efficient on these cars? I think so, yes. Let's have a watch as they work their way down the straight. It was, in fact, Willem Botha that was slower out of the corner than what Jason Kutsia was. Now they're out into the front main. Let's see from our blimp shot. Can he catch up? He had good drive out of the corner. I think he might have, yes, just about be able to launch an attack before they go down into turn number 1. No, Frankie, it doesn't look like there's that much gain in the slipstream. But then again, it doesn't stop from going for the move as they just about make contact.
Yeah, Willem Botha trying to tuck up there on the inside of Jason Kutsia, and he would have been in Jason's blind spot at that point in time. How many times in Formula 1 haven't we seen a driver try to shove his nose up on the inside and then gets it chopped off by another driver ahead of him that's got no clue that he is there? But never mind that one. That's a fight to its own. We have a look at this fight for first, second, third, and fourth. We're on board with fourth place man Byron Mitchell, and he has got Yuri Umpiswat just there ahead of him, chasing down the BWT car of Dolacek in that second position. And Dolacek defending that position is allowing for Miliaris to get away. Julian is 1.9 seconds ahead there of Troy. That's moved up 3 positions since the lights went off, with Swart dropping down 1 position. The biggest mover is Matt Densham. He's gone up 10 positions, and Carl McCarthy has gone up 9 positions. And so far, the biggest loser is Ati Nagel. He has gone down 9 positions so far, with John Weiss losing 6 positions. Oh, let's not forget about Natim Samanga. He's gone down 11 positions, and he might just be out of this one.
Yeah, I somehow think that he's completely out of it. My telemetry shows nothing happening with him there at all. So I think, unfortunately, we're not going to see anything further of that man whatsoever. So first, second, third, and fourth. But let's have a look at Michael Stephen. He's also involved in a battle, and that in there behind the Davidson's motorsport car of the man himself, Clinton Bezuidenhout.
Yeah, there's a little fight going on there behind the two of them, and that involves Kutsia and Botha. Botha's coming right back at Kutsia once again. Remember, Botha lost that position to Kutsia, and that's the battle behind this one, the one we're looking at now between Clinton Bezuidenhout and Michael Stephen. Player of Willem Botha trying all he can and giving it all she got to try and get his nose ahead there of Kutsia once again. A replay here at Robbie Teens in the Denzo outfit, and I think it might just have been a bit of track position there. Or should I say track limits, I should say, went in there very, very, very hot and lost the circuit. So Mitchell is still all over the back end of Yuri Swart. It's all over the back end of Dolacek.
Will the two teammates have a go at one another? I somehow don't think so.
Well, you know, it's every man for himself. I unfortunately don't know who is the top 5, and if these guys are in the top 5 going into this last round. And yeah, I suppose we should know. At this point in time, I think the overall leader of the championship is the man that's leading at this point in time, and that is Julian, 2.1 seconds ahead there of Dolacek. And I'll tell you this for nothing, if Byron can have a go at Umpi, he is certainly going to have a go at Swart Jr.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That's a lovely nose gun shot from Byron Mitchell. But on the right-hand side, as they work their way down towards turn number 1, those 3 are locked together. But look at that battle just a little bit further back. It's Michael Stephen that's sitting on the tail end there of a Clinton Bezuidenhout. And just behind them, that is the Jason Kutsia Willem Botha battle that's going down and making contact as they're going to turn number 1. That's just the case of, I'm not giving way for you and you ain't giving way for me.
Yeah, a little bit of hardcore stuff there between the two of them. This one gets the feeling is far from done between Jason Kutsia and Willem Botha. They are side by side. Botha had the line, then backed off, realized if he went for the move there would have been contact between himself and Kutsia, which could have ended very, very ugly. But at this point in time, he's fighting hard. He's Willem trying to shove his nose up on the inside to get past that B pillar of Jason Kutsia, and this battle royal between Kutsia and Botha is far from over.
Well, Van Swart just a little bit further back is in a battle all of his own. And Van Swart all over the back end there of Matt Densham. Matt Densham up 10 positions. So brilliant, brilliant run for Matt Densham so far. I see Herman Lazarus has come into the pits in the cheapercars.co.za car. And then Janneman Prius also finds himself now in the middle of a little battle. That's Janneman Prius in there behind the comeback kid, Robbie Teens. Look at that, the 36 car in there behind Robbie Teens. And let's go on board and see what that looks like. Pit lane on the right-hand side on his way down towards turn number 1. And that's the cockpit view down towards turn number 1. They go Janneman Prius right on the back end there of Robbie Teens. They close up concertina effect as they go through turn number 1. Now there'll be a long right-hander over a slight blind rise, and then the corner that you see everybody going off on, this is the one they're coming towards now. Look at that, 6th, 5th, 4th, hold on to it. Now you got this difficult going downhill towards your right-hand side and hard on the brakes. In there into 5th, feather it a little bit, climb hard onto the brakes. As soon as you get it into a straight line, you've got to climb very hard onto the brakes. A short little squirt, then you're into that right-hander. That right hand is eventually going to open up into a little bit of a left-hander, but it's just play with the accelerator all the way through to around about there. From here, you need to line it up that you can hold onto the gas flat from there, and you're out into, well, I suppose let's refer to it as the back main. And while they carry on with that battle, let's go back to the front end of the field, and it's now Troy Dolenchik that finds himself behind Umpie Swart and Byron Mitchell.
Yeah, so that fight was raging on between them when we had a look at the one between McCarthy, Teens, and Prius. That one is still raging on for that 11th position. But Troy Dolenchik, I lost that position there as Umpie Swart up on the inside says thank you very much. So it's a best water technology outfit versus Durant Motorsport, and let me tell you this for nothing. The Durant Motorsport guys are absolutely ganging up here on the Dolenchik. So he's a Mitchell and, of course, Swart. So where do you go if you are Troy Dolenchik? He's been absolutely mugged here in this replay, as he's not going to give in there. Sitting on the outside there of Swart. If he lets Swart go past, then Mitchell will go past, as well as Michael Steven lunges up on the inside of Clinton Besaidenout. And Clinton giving him a bit of a rub to say, hey, how dare you take that position away from me? And still the fight raging on here between Jason Kutsia and Willem Botha.
Well, Willem Botha eventually went off track there as well. And that's probably just track limits. Ooh, don't lift off, keep your foot flat. Bang, Willem with the Red Bull car back out onto the circuit. And Umpie Swart just had an error as well. Umpie Swart went off the track. Yep, that's through track limits. Have yourself a cone. It's the only cone that's left. And, well, I must say that battle up front is pretty big. Don't forget about this man. He's up, dusted, and disappeared.
You said Umpie Swart have a cone. Yes, he had a cone. And trust me, there's no flake inside that cone, that's for sure. But familiar iRSA is 3.3 seconds ahead there of Swart. That's still in that second position. Obviously would have lost a lot of ground by losing the circuit there, with Byron Mitchell in that third position and Dolenchik all over the back end there of Mitchell. So Byron Mitchell P3, Dolenchik P4, 0.5 of a second between Mitchell and Dolenchik. And then there's a big gap before we see Clinton Besaidenout. He's 6.4 seconds behind Dolenchik, but he has got 0.2 of a second behind him. He has got Michael Steven. Now, remember, Steven took that position. Oh, sorry, that position was taken away from Michael Steven by Clinton Besaidenout. And Clint has not pulled away from Michael Stephen. Michael Stephen is still all over his back bumper. And, well, Clinton is not going to get away from Michael that easily.
Well, another one that's getting pretty close to the back end of Willem Botha is Jason Coetzee. Jason Coetzee in that 8th position, not going all his own way, but let's have a look at that 4-way battle just behind that, and that starts off with this man, Janeman. If they make that a 5-way battle, what a brilliant battle that's going to be.
Well, that's a fight actually for 9th position. They're all chasing down. Matt Densham is Werner Swart, Carl McCarthy, Janeman Prius, and Robbie Teens. They're all over the back of each other there, and they want that 9th position from Densham because Werner is only 7/10 of a second behind Matt Densham. So it is basically a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 6-way dice out there for that 9th position. We ride aboard with the man that sits in P12, Janeman Prius. He's 2/10 of a second behind that is just ahead of him in that 11th position. You can see how hard they're trying as they come out of that last corner. The guys are going wide. There's nothing between McCarthy and Prius as they are side by side heading down into turn 1.
Well, doesn't get any closer than that. A very nervous moves on the steering wheel there, but look how tight it is. Nothing much between them whatsoever. And 10 places up, Matt Densham, well, as you say, he had them packed and stacked. Carl McCarthy's got himself in there now as well.
What a fight this one is. Janeman Prius just in there. Behind him is Robbie Teens, and they are touching, they are rubbing, they are diving all over each other's bows here. There is certainly no racing lines between these 5 gents as they are going hell for leather. Janeman Prius, right in there behind him is Robbie Teens. Ahead of Prius and Teens is Swart and McCarthy. As a matter of fact, they are now letting Densham get away. Densham is now 1.7 seconds ahead there of Werner Swart, as Swart is the leader of this 4-way train that you see there going down that long straight.
Oh, what a brilliant battle. Well, they said they were going to start on full tanks, so not sure if there's going to be any pit stops. I personally don't think so. It's all about this man. Frankie, we've seen races where he has dominated, and this is yet another one. And look at what he's got behind him. Umpi Swart in there, Byron Mitchell, his teammate, and then Troy Dolenchik. Troy was in that 2nd position. He got passed by the 2 teammates, being Umpi Swart and Byron Mitchell, but he hasn't let them get away whatsoever. He, in turn, has got a fair-sized gap on the next man, being a Clinton Bezuidenhout in the Davidson's car. And he's done a very good job of keeping the very nimble Michael Stephen away from him. Michael Stephen in the red and blue today. And then not far behind that is the Willem Botha Jason Coetzee battle. Now that one has opened up slightly. There they are in the background. There's Willem Botha and Jason Coetzee. And then behind that comes that massive struggle. And it's Matt Densham, the man that's 10 places up. Carl McCarthy says, I'm going to go 1 better than you. I'm 1 behind you, but I'm 11 places up. And we've seen Carl McCarthy running it very hard and on numerous occasions having 2 wheels off the circuit. But I think that this is probably one of Carl McCarthy's best to date.
Yeah, he's gone up 11th position. Remember, he started 21st and stone last, did Carl McCarthy. And he finds himself in 10th position. And he's 1.7 seconds ahead of Werner Swart in P11. And then it's game on here because right behind him is Robbie Teens and Janeman Prius. There's 2/10 of a second between Prius and Swart. And there is virtually nothing, 5/10 of a second between Prius and Teens. So it is pretty much game on. Then it's a 9.8 second gap before we see Etienne Swart in that 14th position. But these guys are still going 1-on-1 here as they come down towards us. Werner Swart, right behind him is Janeman Prius, right behind him is Robbie Teens. So it's Swart, Prius and Teens, 11, 12 and 13 on the track, and my oh my, and they are closing up. They are closing up there on McCarthy, and Densham is now Well, McCarthy's closed up onto the back end of Densham for that matter. McCarthy's only 0.2 of a second behind Matt Densham.
Well, just keep an eye on Michael Stephen. He's not that far off the back of Clinton. But side note, keep an eye on Troy Dolenchik. He also is not that far off the back of Byron Mitchell. But somebody else that finds himself in a royal battle is Robbie Teens.
Yeah, well, Robbie is just in there behind Chris. He's that last car you see out there on track. No, lie, he's not. He's the third car in that group. He's Teens. He's in that Denzo outfit. And he is right in there with Janeman Prius. Oh my word, this is a hell of a fight. Werner Swart is going to be nailed there by Prius. Swart is on your right-hand side of the screen. And Prius is now, well, and there's contact between Prius and Teens. Well, oh, there is chaos. There is chaos out there. Prius and Teens. And, oh, jeez. It's just gone ugly there in that fight for that midfield positions. Atinagel was also involved in the shell car for that matter, and it just turned into chaos.
Well, the other one, I think it was in there. Could it be? Yeah, it was Sandro Bakari got himself locked up in that one as well. Etienne Swart was also then affected by that one. And, they was just trying to get out of the way and, going completely in the wrong direction. And
going into the car park.
I think I'll spend a second or two trying to see. I've never seen that before. You can't go off there. I think he's going to have to exit back to the pit somehow. Well, there we go. There's something completely different. Well done, iRacing, for showing how you get up the wrong embankment.
You got the other one.
I think he's decided enough of that one. Let's just climb out of this. Let's go back to the front end of the field. 24 minutes of the 30 minutes done. We've got Etienne Swart, Atinagel, and Herman Lazarus all in the pits. We've got Julian Familiaris that's slowly but surely pulling away from the rest of the pack and making it look pretty easy, as even the two teammates, Yuri Swart, Byron Mitchell, and Troy Dolenchik, do not have an answer for him at this stage of the fight. Michael Stephen still in there behind Clint Bezuidenhout and not been able to do the passing maneuver. But I think Matt Densham deserves to have a bit of footage on himself today. So many places up has been brilliant. In fact, Carl McCarthy is now the man that's made the most moves, and that is Carl McCarthy that you see there, and he has gone up 12 positions already.
Yeah, Carl McCarthy, from 21st to P9, and he is ahead there of Matt Densham. As a matter of fact, Robbie Teens and Werner Swart also having their own little fight out there, but it's 1.3 seconds now that Teens is ahead there of Swart, as we have a look at Densham chasing down Carl McCarthy. So McCarthy, I think he's going to start getting away here from Densham. Here comes Robbie Teens. Behind him is Werner Swart. And then there is a big gap of just over 7.6 seconds before we see Janeman Prius making his way around. And then Jared Paul, he is, nearly a minute, 57 seconds is Jared Paul behind Janeman Prius.
So the closest one right now in a battle is in fact Michael Stephen on the back of Clinton Bezuidenhout as they work their way out into the I think that's just after turn number 2. No, that's down the main straight. And, there's nothing much that Michael Stephen can do. Clinton Bezuidenhout is doing it all right. He's keeping the gap nice and constant, nice and smooth, not making any mistakes whatsoever. And, if you make a mistake, there's no doubt Michael Stephen's going to pounce. But unless Michael Stephen can pull something different out of the bag, Clinton Bezuidenhout's going to round out the top 5. Julian Familiaris from Umpi Swart, Byron Mitchell, Troy Dolenchik. So the front two have started on the front row of the grid and are still in those top positions. Up 1 is Troy and Byron. Up 2 is Clinton Bezuidenhout and Michael Stephen, having started just outside of the top 5. So the biggest loser there is Willem Botha. Now remember, Willem Botha wasn't in that front 2 rows of the grid until just before the end of the qualifying session, and all of a sudden he jumped up and he said, "Hello boys, I'm going to play with you." Unfortunately, the pace at the front's just been a little bit too much and he hasn't been able to stay there.
Well, Byron Mitchell hasn't given up on Oompie Swart. There's only 8 tenths of a second between Swart and Mitchell. So the two Durant, the Motorsport, the boys are going one-on-one for that second and third position. Bowden Mitchell was a minute. It was 9 tenths. It's now, sorry, it was a second. Then it became 9 tenths. And it became 8 tenths. So Mitchell is closing up onto the back end there of Oompie Swart. But for now, it's been staying constant there on about 8 tenths of a second. But a bit further down in P11, it's Robbie Teens that is going after Matt Densham. He's only 4 tenths of a second behind him. So Teens fancies his chances to end in the top 10.
How's that for closing off the line? On that inside line is Matt Densham. He's not going to be quick coming out of the corner, having gone that way. And, well, now you've got to block the line completely, because going in on that inside line, you don't get the drive coming out. Robbie Teens wants that top 10. Robbie Teens is on the move through the left-hander. They go, look, he just drifts it in there. There you got that blind rise. Now you're going to have that very tricky right-hander, and then stomp on the brakes for that U-turn to the left. Getting it kind of unstable there was Matt Densham. That brings the Densham car of Robbie Teens a whole heap closer. But you can't really find a passing maneuver through this section. All you can do is sit very close to exactly what he's doing. They're two completely different lines. A bit of a left-hander, and now you're going to go out into that long straight. These touring cars don't seem to have too much drag coefficient on them, but now it's going to be one-on-one down the long straight.
Well, I would give it to Teens, yeah, and he's got it coming out that final corner. There's the pits on your right-hand side of the screen. You see Herman Lazarus is there in that very short pit lane. That was the blue car that you saw there for a moment. As that's just a replay of the two of them going side by side into that final corner, with Robbie Teens taking that position away and moving up now into P10.
Well, I must say that was very, very well driven, no doubt about it. Let's go back to the front end of the field. There is just a half a minute to go. Where is our lead man, Julian from iRSA? Well, looks like he's on his way down towards turn number 1.
Yep, turn
yes.
1.
So this is the last lap for that man, Julian from iRSA. Barring unforeseen circumstances, the Liqui Moly car is well on its way to the top numbers that you can attain out of this fourth and final round of the Touring Car Challenge before we go to season number 2, and that's going to be 10 rounds with a big South African sponsorship and prize money loaded into that one.
Yeah, Julian just busy making his way around. He's 4.8 seconds ahead there of Oompie Swart, and he has got approximately a half a lap, maybe even less than a half a lap to do. He's on the top end of the track now, busy working his way down. But let me tell you this for nothing, it's still pretty much game on for second and that third position between Swart and Mitchell. There's only 6 tenths of a second between them. Clinton beside note has, as far as I'm concerned, no, he's not sealed that 5th position, because Michael Stephen in P6 is only 8 tenths of a second behind Clinton beside note. But the checkered flag will be coming out now. Familiaris has come home in P1. He's won this one, with Yuri Swart finishing there in second. 9 tenths of a second between him and the man that comes home in 3rd position. Bowden Mitchell rounding off the top 4 is Donacek. Poseidon out rounding off the top 5, and the top half a dozen by Michael Stephen.
With Umberto coming through just behind that. Then the Iron Man, Jason Kutsia, not where he would like to be. I think he would like to be a lot further up. 12 positions up. Carl McCarthy, Sujin Properties, the sponsors of the first 6-hour race that we had just last week Sunday. And Carl McCarthy from the well-known McCarthy family, bringing it through 12 positions up into the top 10 in 9th position.
And rounding off that top 10 is Robbie Teens. He fought hard to get past Densham, and he does finish in that top 10 in 10th position, with that Densham finishing there in 11th, and Werner Swart in 12th, and Janeman Prius crossing the line in 13th position. And I think that the top 13 cars that are out there on the lead lap.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps that up. Wow, that was something else. Everything we thought, expect, hoped, and wished for, and a little bit more. That was brilliant stuff. And I personally believe that the Touring Car Challenge Season 2 is going to be a biggie. I see no reason why not. It's got all the right flavors to it. It's got all the right backing to it. And there's the results for this, the round 5, should I say. Not round 4, round 5. There's the final results of tonight's race. Well done, Julian from the iRSA.
Top 13 cars on the lead lap. And my driver of the day is Kyle McCarthy.
I would tend to say 100% yes, coming off the tail end of the field. Julian from the iRSA from Umpi Swart, Byron Mitchell, Troy Dolenchik, with Quinton Bezuidenhout rounding out the top 5. A hard drive there by Michael Stephen to try and pressurize Bezuidenhout into a mistake. It didn't happen. Willem Botha from Jason Gutierrez, driver of the day from both of us. Kyle McCarthy, well done. Robbie Teens, Matt Densham, also well done, Matt Densham. Werner Swart from Janeman Prius, Jared Paul, Louis Nokia, Sandro Bakari having problems and dropping way down, as did John T. Weiss, and then Etienne Swart as well. I think it was a brilliant drive there from Julian from the iRSA to stay ahead of the likes of a trio of Swart, Mitchell, and Dolenchik, and in fact Bezuidenhout and Stephen, and in fact Botha could see that is something else to stay ahead of that 7. So that wraps it up for this one, for the Touring Car Challenge from the Second Gear Studios. Frankie Yennis, a closing word from your side on tonight's race and your visions for Touring Car Championship going forward.
Well, tonight's race, if I have a look at that leaderboard, the top 10 that you see there, never mind the order that they finished in, but you would expect that top 10 to be in the top 10 for this one. If I had a bad luck, I'm not sure what happened, but I would split it between Nathan Samanga and Ati Nagel, because they were doing pretty well in the opening stages. And then, yeah, for round number, or should I say for season number 2, if season 1 is anything to go by, then it is going to be absolutely mind-blowing season number 2. And with a major sponsor coming on board, it's going to be absolutely wild.
Yep, no doubt about it. From Second Gear Studios, Second Gear Productions, Second Gear Talk Show, myself, Gary Fleming, a big thanks to Frankie Yennis that's joined us from beginning to end for season 1 of the Touring Car Challenge, and a very big invite from my side to you to join us for the season 2, all 10 rounds of the Touring Car Challenge. A big thanks to Jaco Steyn that did the homework to get the right kind of sponsorship going to bring in the prize money for all of these top races. And we look forward to coming back to you with season 2 of the Touring Car Challenge. On behalf of myself, Gary Fleming, Jaco Steyn, Frankie Yennis, and then also FC Nivo that joined us for the one of the rounds. Goodbye from our side and look forward to season number 2.